Listen now to the tales, the legends, and the true stories. For time is but a human construct, and it knows no bounds. For the paranormal and unexplained, it is always horror time.
I was supposed to look out for him as his big brother. I know it's out of my control. It was a car accident. There's nothing we can do about that. But somehow I feel responsible. And I think all the stress from school and just thinking about what happened is just all getting to me.
Gino.
What?
Whoa, chill with the attitude. Breakfast is up.
Got it. Be down soon. I said I'd be right there. What? Hello? Dad? Dad? What the hell? Catch you later, Dad.
Hey, where you think you're going?
School?
A piece of toast. That's it. I made this entire breakfast for us.
Sorry, Dad. Maybe tomorrow. I'm running late.
Gino, before you go, could you put that kickball away? I don't know why it's out here, but,
Kickball? I didn't touch it.
that was Damien's, and I just...
Yeah, I'll put it away.
Yeah, anyway, love you, kid.
Yeah, I love you too.
Gino. You are going to be late. Would you just get going? Just leave the kickball. I'll take care of it. Holy Are you serious?
My dad and I just moved into this house on Meadowbrook Lane. It was a kind of fresh start, but it doesn't feel like one. I mean, how? How could it be fresh? He's trying to do all these things to distract himself, like cooking these big breakfasts and carry out through the day like nothing's wrong. Like my brother's not gone. Ugh, and this school. Don't get me started. Classmates? Oof.
Whoa, watch where you're going, Gino.
Annoying as hell. Teacher in classes?
Another F, Gino? I hope you turn this around soon.
Awful. Hey, Dad.
Hey, how was school?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right. Hey, what the hell was that all about this morning with the kickball?
What about it? I placed it in the garage, just like you said.
That was not just placing it. You kicked it into the house and broke some dishes. Do you realize I spent all morning cleaning that up?
Yeah, don't know what you're talking about. I placed it in the garage and left.
I am sick of this lying bullshit, kid. Just head to your room.
God damn it, Dad!
Hey, watch your mouth, kid.
Why don't you go to your room? You mope in there enough.
Excuse me?
You see what I mean? How could this be a fresh start? I have to put up with this shit left and right. When I'm at home, when I'm at school. See the trend yet? Sleep is the only reprieve I get. So guess what I'm doing right now? My homework can wait. What the? Before me, a dark figure materializes in the closet, and it looks like Damien? What? No, that makes no sense.
Come on, Gino. Let's go play with Dad's new plane. We can play war.
No! Let me out! Let me out!
Come on, let's go, big brother. Don't be afraid. Come on, Gino. I'm back here. Come play with me.
Just then, my door swung open.
It's 3 a.m. Go to bed.
My closet. There's dark figure and a voice.
I can't believe this. You're in high school. Aren't you a little too old for, monsters in the closet? Just please go to bed. Gino, get down here now.
Dad, what's going on? What happened?
Look what you did. Why? What is wrong with you?
I
don't have the money to keep paying for these things like this.
Looks like Damien was busy last night. The fridge looks like it had a bomb go off inside. Condiments all over the place. Food torn to shreds. The door was even ripped off of its hinges. God damn. I don't think Dad can handle much more of this.
Look, just go back to bed.
What am I going to get in trouble for now? Dad, what was that? Dad, what do I need to do? What can you walk?
Yeah, I think I just twisted it. I'm just gonna go to the walk-in.
Are you sure you're good to drive? Do we need an ambulance? Do you need me to drive?
No, I'll be fine. Just stay here and don't go anywhere, please.
Did Dad have a nice trip?
You pushed him?
You're lucky that's all I did.
I forgot. What? Damien? Son? Is that you? How is this possible?
No, Dad. It's not him. It's the thing from my closet. That's the thing that's been causing all the issues around the house. I've been trying to tell you.
What are you talking about? It is your brother. Look. I don't know, by some miracle he's back, but he's there. He's right in front of us.
I saw a joyful tear run down my dad's face as he stumbled over to give Damien a hug.
Daddy, I'm scared. Gino's being mean to me.
As my father hugged him, the entity's eyes shifted to pitch black.
Now we can be together forever.
And then let out a big cry. Dad, no! Dad, no! Then the closet swings open with the light pouring out. Everything in the room starts spinning as the wind fills the room, and then I saw my dad fall to the floor. The black figure absorbs itself into his body. My dad rises up, but it's no longer my dad. It's that thing.
Now we can be together forever. Can I have a hug, brother?
Dad! No! No! No, Dad! Come back! I'm sorry! I can't go on. Come on! Come back! Come, please! Come back! We can do this together! I'm sorry! I know, it's not fair! It's just not fucking fair!
It's okay, Big Bro Gino. Take my hand. It'll be okay.
Big Bro Gino? That's what Damien called me. That other thing, he just called me brother. Oh my god. It's him!
Let go. Everything will be okay. I promise.
I took his hand, and in the moment, I wasn't sad or nervous about letting go. It's like I knew everything was going to be okay.
You and Dad can do this. Like he says, we'll always be a team. Let's get this thing and bring back our dad.
My brother's spirit dashed towards my father, and then a beam of light flashed. It was gone in an instant, and then my dad fell to the floor. Dad, come on! Wake up! Come on! Come on!
What? Oh my god. Where's your brother? Damien, where'd he go?
Dad, he's gone, but he saved us. Well, things are much better now. My dad and I talk more, and even kid around here and there. I started working harder in school. Stuff's actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. We will always miss Damien and be thankful he was part of our lives. Like he said, we'll always be a team.
Hey, my kiddo Gino. Want to go get some ice cream? Hello, horror fans. I'm Timekeeper Matt.
And I'm Timekeeper Pat.
And welcome to the premiere of Season 3, Episode 1. We are excited to start Season 3, and we are very happy to have you here with us for a spooky season. How are you doing, Pat?
Oh, I'm just joyful. How are you?
Doing good. How was your summer?
Oh, it was short.
Yeah.
How was yours?
Good. It was good, but you know what? Summer ends. That means the fall is here, and that's our season, man. So
terror time.
Yes, it's what we live for, right? Okay, so we are going to start off this season with a tale of poltergeists. We've done paranormal entities before, but we've never really delved into a poltergeist yet, so we're excited for this story. This is going to be the tale of Alma Fielding, the poltergeist of Thornton Heath. So, are you ready, Pat?
Let's get into it.
All right.
There has not been a greater or truer ghost story than this one in many years.
February 21st, 1938. As World War II dominated headlines and Adolf Hitler's Nazi forces loomed over Austria, the quaint metropolitan town of Thornton Heath, nestled just south of London, held a secret that would soon capture the nation's imagination. Nandor Fodor, a name known in the world of paranormal investigations, was about to have his life work challenged. Once an associate of the famed Sigmund Freud, Fodor's expertise ranged from prenatal development of dream interpretation, but he was most renowned for his magnum opus, the Encyclopedia of Psychic Science, first published in 1934. His pioneering theory suggested that the poltergeists were manifestations of the subconscious conflicts rather than independent entities, and had earned him recognition in academic circles. In a world overshadowed by the impending war, Fodor's latest case emerged. A letter from East End clergymen arrived one chilly February morning, bearing news that would soon share space in newspapers with Hitler's looming invasion of Austria. The newspaper enclosed in the envelope ran the headline, "Ghost Wrecks Home, Family Terrorized." The letter informed Fodor of Alma Fielding, a 34-year-old housewife who had turned to the press, desperate to shed light on the bizarre happenings in her home. A six-fingered handprint materialized on a mirror, glasses flew through the bedroom, and pots and coins danced through the air. During one startling incident, a cup of tea leaped from the table, scalding the housekeeper's face. Alma was on the phone with the press when a saucer flew across the kitchen, crashing against the door. Even Dr. Wills, Fodor's colleague at the International Institute of Psychical Research, had witnessed a saucer hovering at eye level before smashing into the wall. Intrigued, Fodor decided to investigate Alma's case firsthand. He dispatched his assistant, who returned with astonishing accounts of dishes and bottles hurtling through the air, Alma convulsing uncontrollably, and a vase launching itself down the stairs. Convinced of the case's significance, Fodor made his way to Thornton Heath, and on arrival on Alma's doorstep, Fodor was a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. Alma, at 34, was a housewife sharing her home with her husband, Les, her son, Don, and their lodger, George Saunders. Her life had been marked by a series of hardships, from childhood illness like measles, whooping cough, tonsillitis, and even cancer. She had witnessed the horrors of World War I when German forces bombed her neighborhood in Pimlico. In her 20s, she experienced a mysterious temporary blindness that she hid from others. Somehow, she was still able to get around with heightened senses. It was only noticed by her husband when they went to the movies and she wasn't looking at the screen. This was followed by heartbreaking miscarriages. London, engulfed in fear and anxiety due to the escalating horrors of the Nazi regime, only added to Alma's underlying anxieties. Fodor wasted no time and began setting up his research equipment. He was determined to unravel the mystery that had brought him to Thornton Heath. The Fielding household held secrets, and Fodor was about to uncover them. Yet little did he know that the events unfolding in Alma's home were only the beginning of a journey that would challenge his understanding of the supernatural and led him to uncharted territory. Inside Alma's home, the atmosphere was tense. Fodor initiated his investigation by first meeting with Alma's husband, Les. Exhaustion lined Les's face. He had scarcely slept since a seance was held in their dining room, where a medium had attempted to exorcise the malevolent spirit haunting their family. Alma and Les guided Fodor through the chaos within their home, shattered items, dented walls, and toppled-over dressers. Upon witnessing the destruction, Fodor believed it was essential to introduce Alma to the controlled environment of the Institute, where seance sessions could be conducted with precision. This would allow him to assess whether or not these phenomena were genuine or just a clever hoax. The following day, Alma arrived at the Institute, her face marked by anxiety. Fodor inquired about any recent incidents since their last meeting. Alma recounted an unsettling encounter at a local cafe, where her teacup and saucer had been inexplicably knocked from her grasp, and a glass of milk shattered to the ground. Ascending to the seance room, Alma's unease was palpable. Suddenly, in the midst of their observations, a hairbrush plummeted to the floor from an impossible height, roughly 12 feet away from them, where they stood. Alma recognized it as her own brush from her bedroom. Bewildering both her and Fodor. In the dimly lit seance room, Fodor, his colleagues, and Alma gathered around a wooden table, and for nearly 30 minutes they observed her closely, awaiting any sign of paranormal activity. Then it happened. Alma's voice quivered as she reported feeling something behind her, as though she were seated on an unseen presence. Fodor reached behind her and retrieved a dust cover, the kind placed in corners to prevent dust accumulation, from her son Don's bedroom. It appeared seemingly out of thin air. One particularly perplexing occurrence during the session involved a tumbler containing a flashbulb for Fodor's camera. It somehow tipped over, causing the flashbulb to fall, only to have the tumbler return to an upright position, as if it was by its own volition. Eager to determine whether these events were the result of trickery or a genuine paranormal activity, Fodor devised a new experiment. Alma was thoroughly patted down by his assistants, ensuring she had no concealed items. Then she was outfitted in a silver jumpsuit, tightly secured at her neck and ankles with the zipper taped to her back. Fodor and his team seated themselves at the seance table, touching fingertips in a bid to provoke responses. However, this time, nothing happened. The room remained still, devoid of any supernatural manifestations. Yet, as Alma prepared to leave, a trick penny belonging to their lodger, George, mysteriously appeared behind her. An X-ray later on would later reveal that multiple items had seemingly materialized inside Alma as well. This bizarre phenomenon extended beyond objects simply appearing near Alma. She claimed that various items, from hairbrushes to rhubarb and even mice, would materialize in her presence or within her pockets, seemingly out of nowhere. A bird had even manifested within the seance room, only to perish a few days later. It was as if the laws of reality themselves had bent around her. But it didn't end there. Alma made an even more astonishing claim. She had possessed the ability to astral project. Astral projection, the phenomenon described it as an intentional out-of-body experience, had become an integral part of Alma's enigmatic repertoire. In this peculiar state, one's astral body could traverse the astral plane while their physical body remained stationary. It was a phenomenon that challenged the very foundations of conventional understanding. To test this claim, Alma had gone to the theater and claimed to have astral projected to the ongoing seance at the Institute. In her astral form, she approached Fodor in the room and knocked on the table, to which Fodor acknowledged her presence. When Alma returned to her physical body, Fodor substantiated her claim by confirming that he indeed heard the knocks during the seance. These extraordinary abilities only deepened the mystery surrounding Alma Fielding, leaving Fodor both astounded and perplexed. He was determined to unravel the layers of enigma that shrouded this woman, and thus the experiments continued. Hypnosis sessions became the frontier of exploration, and Alma would enter a trance-like state, revealing a series of strange encounters and experiences. Most astonishingly, she claimed to have been visited and assaulted by an entity known as an incubus on multiple occasions. In folklore, an incubus was a malevolent spirit that engaged in sexual encounters with sleeping women. The female counterpart, a succubus, targeted men. Alma's accounts of these disturbing nocturnal visitations were unsettling, to say the least. Yet her narratives didn't stop there. Alma spoke of her entities that frequented her nocturnal hours, entities that seemed to resemble vampires. On some mornings, she would awaken to find puncture marks on her neck, further deepening the aura of the inexplicable that surrounded her life. As Fodor and his team delved deeper into Alma's psyche, the seance sessions took a curious turn. Alma's forehead furrowed, her face flushed, and her voice took on a different tone, that of a presence she referred to as Bremba. Bremba claimed, "I passed away 18 years ago in 1920 while studying art." His utterances were cryptic yet revealing, often centering on Alma's trustworthiness and visions she had experienced, such as that of a hanged priest. During these sessions, Alma would recall sensations of being pulled upwards and her neck being constricted at times. They even witnessed red rings forming around her throat. Her demeanor would shift dramatically from quiet introspection to sudden outbursts. In one instance, she shrieked, threw herself over the arm of a chair, and began addressing everyone as Bremba. Fodor and his team couldn't help but wonder, was Bremba a spirit or something else entirely? When questioned about his nature, Bremba's cryptic responses added more layers to the mystery. "I am body," he declared. And when asked where he went when Alma was awake, his response was equally enigmatic. "I go into the beyond." These encounters with Bremba blurred the boundaries between the known and the unknown, plunging Fodor deeper into enigma of Alma Fielding's experiences. Fodor's insatiable curiosity continued to drive his quest for answers. He sought to conduct an experiment that would go beyond the boundaries of a conventional research. It was a daring move that would ultimately lead to consequences he had not anticipated. His proposition was to inject Alma with truth serum, a substance that could potentially unlock hidden truths buried deep within her subconscious. However, the proposal did not sit well with the rest of the Institute, fatigued by the relentless experimentation and eagerness to distance themselves from the controversial case. They decided to suspend the sessions. It was a decision that would have far-reaching consequences for Fodor and his pursuit of the inexplicable. The Institute took the drastic step of terminating Fodor's association with them. They seized all of his research related to the Alma Fielding case, citing financial reason as the official explanation. And that's it that I have with that story. So it's an interesting case because Fodor himself, even though he was very intrigued in the beginning, the more and more this went on, he actually flipped to the other side and thought it was a hoax. And he kept wanting to test and test and test.
Mm-hmm.
And once they got to that truth serum part, they were like, "No, we're not doing this anymore," because they all thought it was kind of a hoax too. Alma Fielding, she stuck with it till the end of her days, saying that no, it happens. It even went to trial at one point too. That she was saying that basically, I think the trial was basically saying like that they were just kind of playing with her and
Poking and
that
prodded, and yeah.
And because I mean, so this book that I mostly got these sources out of even says like, you know, the parts where like it was inside of her, they claimed that like she like put some of these items like literally up inside of her, like up through
Ooh.
her vagina, and like then would have it drop down her dress. Like that's like how far they went into this. Yeah, it's an interesting case, and it's still kind of controversial and debated of whether or not it was true. Because I think this Fodor guy was actually a very controversial figure himself. And you know, like I said, he came from more of the fact that like these things came from trauma before, and a lot of his stuff was, I mean, I mentioned that he worked with Sigmund Freud.
Sigmund Freud, yep.
And if you know anything about Sigmund Freud, he's a controversial figure himself, and all of his stuff is about, you know, sex. And like that's like the root of like a lot of things is this like idea of sex. And like reading through it, they kind of like got to that point of as well, like, you know, did you have these traumas in your life and sexual traumas, you know, with the miscarriages, like is this causing these? But he thought that physical things could happen even though it wasn't like a physical entity. It was like the person themselves, almost like through a telekinesis type thing. That so
Ah,
he's
okay.
believed it was kind of a supernatural thing, from what I was gathering, but he. Like you said, he believed that the power was coming from the trauma, and that power from the trauma was causing these things to happen around them. That there wasn't necessarily a supernatural paranormal entity.
Kind of
Um,
like how in the X-Men it was severe trauma that brings
yeah,
out
yeah,
every
yeah,
power.
yeah. Exactly,
So like a
exactly.
mutation.
Right. Who was it? Yeah. Exactly. And interesting because you kind of find that with a lot of ghost stories in general, a lot of possessions in general. It seems to be, sometimes they take that route in movies and stuff like that. That there's some type of trauma that happened to them that
Hmm.
opened them up to this world of demons, or world of poltergeists, or what have you. Um,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I would take it's hard to say because there's a lot of evidence of the things that actually happened around her, um, but whether or not it was, because they claim that she. It's weird because like they patted her down and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They clearly didn't find things, but then they found stuff inside. It kind of reminds me of that the one our first episode from last.
Gottlieben.
Yeah, how she would have like these weird things manifest inside her
Yep.
and like pull it out of her skin and all of that. Like it was almost like that. It's like, well, if it's a paranormal entity, maybe those things are appearing inside her. Um, and if
Hmm.
not, like that is quite the that's quite the lengths to go to hoax, to literally like shoving things up inside you.
You really like if that's yeah, if you really
Like
want attention and that's how you're doing it.
there's a lot going on there. I mean from her childhood, and that's the other thing too, that this book that I was reading, Alma Fielding Haunting, it really drives home to the external situations that were going on outside of this, because they were in London, 1938, World War II. Hitler was invading all these things, going into Austria, like all of this stuff. Like obviously, horror and fear, real life horror, was going around them, and they
Hmm.
were kind of like pushing, like maybe these traumatic incidents were happening, almost just causing people to have anxieties to that point, um, because of what was going on around them, the environment around them. Um, and yeah, I don't know if it got across, but the story itself too, like it was a big story, even though all this stuff with Hitler was happening. Like it took front page next to a picture of Hitler. Like it was a fairly big story for the back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And it became controversial because people didn't know if she was playing a hoax or not. And I think she eventually, I forget what she herself did something with people with trauma, or people with, I can't remember exactly what she went into after it, but she died a little bit later on. And then was even saying that most of the people around her, because her husband witnessed stuff, their housekeeper or lodger, I'm not exactly sure what a lodger is. um, I'm assuming it's like a housekeeper type of thing. Even them witnessed it. Towards the end, I think her grandson was saying that she definitely made up a lot of stories, and I never knew what was true and what wasn't. He's like, but to me, it just always seemed very genuine, when she would talk about it, and he kind of acknowledged that. So again, it's controversial, but I definitely thought it was interesting because, like, it's something that we've kind of touched on before, like I said, with Gottlieb and Ditas, but that
Hmm.
was more of a possession, whereas this is a poltergeist, and poltergeists tend to, at least that's what they're classifying it under, and poltergeists tend to almost like want to like do physical things to people.
Yeah. Like
Like, no, go ahead.
well, yeah, like you said, like the saucers and teacups flying all over the place, and um, the I can't remember. Did they say anything about like harm? Any harm?
um No, yes, because the one tea cup of tea scalded George in the
That's
face.
right. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's physically doing things to people, or like it seems like it's physically doing things to people. I don't
And
know. Yeah, go
and
ahead.
did it and it didn't just go. It wasn't in a place. It was her. It
Yeah, and that's
was
also what it seemed like she had a lot of things going on though, because like she said she astral project, which is something we've never touched on at Hard Time. I don't think we've ever had a story with astral projection,
no.
and that in itself could be an episode because that's a cool concept, an interesting concept. All the Insidious movies go with that. But yeah, she could do that, and then there was the whole thing about the succubus, and then or the incubus, I should say, right? Yeah, it's an
The
incubus,
incubus, and then
female
the
succubus.
counterpart is the
Yeah.
succubus.
So yeah, like with the incubus, and then like something like a vampire type thing. Like it seemed like there was a lot going on, and then Bremba. And there were a few other entities that I didn't add that she would like. There was a little Indian girl that she would become sometimes, and then there was a few other ones. But
Now
then
Bremba, it said, well, it claimed it was an 18-year-old. 18 years ago, it passed away
yeah,
in 1920. It was just studying art, but then it's like, um, it said it was basically saying it's everywhere.
yeah, it almost came through like that he would pass through her. That's what I was getting from it, that
Oh,
he
she
was
was the gateway. Okay.
right,
Yep.
like that that he wasn't possessing her, but he was able to kind of use. He would refer to her a lot as the medium, like my medium. That I don't think I mentioned that in there, but he would refer to her a lot as like my medium. So like it almost seems like it was just kind of like a vessel to communicate.
Okay.
um and then where would you go afterwards? I would go into the beyond. uh and he was talking about visions that she would see, and then yeah, that was another thing, she would see weird visions like with the priest, the hanging priest. I guess like she's witnessed this whole thing of this priest that hanged himself that like actually happened, but like she saw it in real life. um yeah, it's a definitely an interesting case because there's just so much going on there. um it's hard to unravel, you know, and it's hard to say what's hoax and what isn't, because there could have been exaggerations in there, but there's people witnessing these things of like her getting rings around her neck and these dishes flying in the air. Like how do you like, especially in 1940, how do you, or 1938, how do you fake that in front of people?
That's pretty hard.
Like I would be hard pressed to figure out how to do it now, other than like having, some type of drone type of thing. But like back then you didn't have any of that type of stuff.
No.
So I don't know. What do you think? What's your official takeaway on it, hoax or not?
Um, it's hard. It's hard because I can see, like, depending on where the things were in her body, like putting them in certain orifices.
Right, like they were saying. Yeah, sure.
But if it was like in your arm or something, let's say, she would have to cut her arm deep enough to stick something in. And I'm squirming as I'm thinking about it.
Well, I don't
And
think
then
they ever said anything like that happened, but they said that like it would fall behind her, like out of nowhere, would like come out of the
it would
sky.
just like, okay.
Yeah, it would just like pop down, like, and there are items that were like um that came from like her house. So there is that aspect of, it's like, well, she could have brought it with her, she could have been hiding it somewhere, and then when someone looked away, the sleight of hand type of thing, and she dropped it. And but it's like, why is she going through this much stuff?
I mean, there could have been
unless, unless there's
something,
unless there's something going on with her from all of her trauma and all those.
yeah, like something in the head or in her
Right,
mind wasn't,
her psyche wasn't correct, right,
yeah,
it wasn't balanced correctly, that type of thing.
yes.
Like, I mean, that's very possible. And it's, especially back then, that our uh mental
Wasn't
health,
as knowledgeable as it
it's
is.
not that great now, let alone back then.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it goes with anything. It's hard to determine without seeing, I guess. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, like, I have I've known people that can tell stories or really embellish them, and I know when they're like super embellishing them, and I'll
Yeah,
just sit there and entertain them because I'm not a person to call someone out unless they're
sure.
being
And you're
really
like, listen,
stupid.
listen to this bullshit, but okay.
Yeah, but like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, keep talking, bud. Like
Yeah.
I know that's not what you did. You've never done it. It's like the like Billy Madison when Chris Farley, the bus driver, is like talking about Veronica Vaughn. He's like, me and her got it on. He's like, no, no, you didn't. That's me whenever someone's telling a bullshit story. No, no, you didn't.
Well, yeah, I knew someone.
No, you didn't.
No, yeah, exactly like that. So it's hard to tell. And this Fodor guy, like I said, he's a very controversial figure. There's actually a movie out right now about him. I heard it's not very good, unfortunately, but Simon Pegg, I believe it is, yeah, he plays him. And
Oh, that one. Okay.
he had a case before this of a family that claimed there was a talking mongoose, that there was a mongoose that was talking to them.
I think I saw the trailer. I read
Yeah,
something about this one.
yeah, unfortunately, I mean, I don't really believe in Rotten Tomatoes and stuff like that. But from what I hear, it's not the greatest, but I don't know, I mean, I'd still give it a watch.
Oh yeah.
I don't go by Rotten Tomatoes, especially since we were just saying that we tend to look for horror movies that are rated like 40%. So
Yeah. Those are the golden eggs, man. You got to sift through a couple of those and you find like
it's true.
some good times for sure.
It's true. Very true. But yeah, I think that's all I got on the Poltergeist.
And her name's Alma
Alma, yeah, AL.
because I'm not sure if there's a connection because I didn't really know the name until today, but there's a game called Fear. It's like F.E.A.R.
Okay.
And it's like a governmental experiment on this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and then she gets loose, and she's just like it's basically a horror game. So you're going around with guns and stuff, but
Okay.
it's still
That
like
sounds
you go around the corner and everything flashes. You're in a different place where there's like all this like ectoplasm
that sounds
and
kind of
it kind of reminded me of that when you said Alma. That's all I thought about. But
yeah.
with astral projecting in the story itself, I was like, oh well, maybe they read this story and kind of based something off of that.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did.
But again, I didn't look into it, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Don't give me. I'm
You
not
never
100% on that. Don't quote
right.
me.
Right. No, you never know. Yeah. Do you ever speaking of Poltergeist, have you ever seen the movie Poltergeist?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know there was multiple ones though. So
Yeah. Yeah. There are. I was like, we can't let a episode about a poltergeist go away without talking about the movie Poltergeist, because that was like probably my gateway into horror, honestly. As a kid, it's probably that and like It and stuff like that, those early late 80s or those 80s and 90s movies. But man, that movie, so freaky. And that's one of those things too, like they very much show the poltergeist as physically trying to harm people, like the clown trying to choke him under the bed. And
oh my god,
oh god, that dude, that the root of fear right there. Oh, it's so awful. And the tree trying to take him out of the house.
oh my god.
Yeah. And I always remember the scary movies though, where with the clown.
Oh my god, Uncle Rayway wants to play.
And then the tree rolls him into a joint.
Oh my god.
Such stupid movies. They're fun though.
I love
Uh,
those parodies.
yeah, but those movies themselves are said to be the sets were said to be cursed. Um, unfortunately, the little girl actress passed away um, while
That's right.
filming the third one, I think it was. But yeah, those are some creepy movies. And their whole thing was that if anyone's not seen it, I don't want to spoil it, but I would assume if you're listening to this podcast, you've seen Poltergeist. It's
I mean,
pretty,
even if we did, I mean, it's still good.
pretty.
It's still fun to watch. Even
It's
if
true.
you,
It's a
I
great
mean,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fun to watch. And then there's that second one with that creepy dude that shows up at their doorstep. That guy is so scary looking.
I think I've seen the memes, but again,
Right.
I didn't realize there was multiple. I've only
Yeah,
seen the first one,
I haven't seen the other ones in forever.
which is bad because I call myself a horror fan and I haven't seen
Yeah,
all the Poltergeists.
the first one's that foundational one, but like I've seen the second and third ones. I just don't remember as much. If I recall correctly, like I remember that old guy just because he was so like terrifying. But if I recall correctly, the second one's good. The third one's not as good, but I don't remember. Uh, but anyway, as we've said, you have anything else to add to the Poltergeist thing?
Nope. I got everything on my notes here.
Cool, sweet.
But yeah, that was a good story. I like that, and yeah,
Yeah,
crazy. I
yeah,
mean,
so
not that I like it, but like it's interesting
yeah,
facts.
so much stuff going on there. So much stuff. We could probably do more episodes just on that topic there. I feel I only brushed the surface. I mean, there's a whole book. It's called The Haunting or Alma Fielding Haunting or something like that. It only came out like a couple of years ago. It's pretty good. Um, I listened to it on Audible and it was pretty good. But anyway, next, actually, as we've been saying, with our season 3 premiere, we have 2 episodes this week. So tomorrow, which will be September 14th. We have another episode on the Shanghai tunnels in Portland, Oregon. Supposed to be one of the most haunted locations in the world, not just the country of the United States, but in the world. So those are. It's a cool one there. And then, yeah, if you could be so kind to leave us a review, it helps us get to other listeners and for us to keep bringing spooky content to you. And we are on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, all at Horror Time Podcast. And I just want to say to the new listeners, welcome and thank you so much. We've seen this summer quite the surge in followers on our Facebook page. We've been doing the Urban Legends series on our reels, and everyone's been loving it, and we love that you love it. So hopefully you stick around and keep on listening to season 3. Again, we are very happy for you to join us on this spooky season.
Heck yeah! Thanks for joining us, guys. I
Yep.
enjoy looking at all the likes that I see come through.
Agreed. It's fun. So we'll catch you tomorrow with the Shanghai episode, and then every other Wednesday bi-weekly we'll be releasing more. So yeah, all right, see you later, friends.
Have a good one.